Juggalos in recovery.
Juggalos in recovery, man.
All right, guys. So this next part I'm going to go into to fill what I can here on the time is kind of relates to my story and actually, everybody's story, but positive self-talk. Talking to yourself isn't always a good thing, but it can be good if you're doing it in a positive way, right? So, and then it just goes into what is positive self-talk. And I can't take credit for writing all of this, but I did write some of it, so I'm just going to read here. Self-talk is your internal dialogue. It's influenced by your subconscious mind, and it reveals thoughts, beliefs, questions, and ideas. Self-talk can be both negative and positive. It can be encouraging. And it also can be distressing. And one of the sayings that I'm told is that you are not your thoughts, but your thoughts can affect how you act and how you behave, right? So, but just keep in mind, you are not your thoughts. You might have bad, shitty thoughts, but that's not who you are. That's just a thought. Let's see. It might be more helpful, more hopeful and positive, but generally true if you tend to be a pessimist, right? So positive thinking and optimism can be effective stress management tools. Indeed, having a more positive outlook on life can provide you with some health benefits. For example, there's a study that shows optimists have a better quality of life. There's some people that I run into that just, you could tell they're just being positive just to be positive, and sometimes it's annoying, but they do have a better quality of life, man. They're out there living their life and being as positive as they possibly can be in the face of negativity. And sometimes I have to look up to those people, even though sometimes you can see through it, right? But if you believe your self-talk is too negative, or if you want to emphasize positive self-talk, you can learn to shift your inner dialogue. It can help you be a more positive person, and it may improve your health. Constantly saying shitty things and, talking down to yourself. I don't know about anybody on here, but I constantly beat myself up. I am the worst critic of myself. It's one of my character defects that, I've written about in my my steps. It's something that I'm hoping that my higher power relieves me of, but it's like I have to work on it too. It's not just something I can hope for. Because when you're constantly beating yourself up inside, it wears on you. So why is it good for you? Self-talk can enhance your performance and general well-being. For example, research shows self-talk can help athletes perform better. So when an athlete's like, I could beat this guy, just like being more positive when he's training, they're going to do better in the sport that they're in versus like, oh, I'm never going to do good at this. And, I'm going to suck at this and that. Like, and I do that a lot and I end up sucking. Like it's just the way it is. It may help them with endurance or to power through a set of heavy weights. I don't know if anybody's ever picked up some weights and tried to lift heavy ass fucking weights. If you don't think you can, you definitely can't, and you won't. You have to have a better, perception of it, or else it's just not going to happen. Furthermore, positive self-talk and a more optimistic outlook can have other health benefits. It's proven to increase vitality, increase greater life satisfaction, improve immune function, reduce pain, better cardiovascular health, better physical well-being, reduced risk for death, less stress and distress. Now, to say that, just being positive is going to cure all the ails you and that's going to like relieve pain and things like that, that's absolutely not true. It will help people who have had cancer and been struggling with cancer, things like that, just as an example, tend to do better and respond better to treatment if they're more positive and have a better outlook on their diagnosis. Again, doesn't cure, it, and doesn't mean you're not going to have pain. It's just going to mean it makes it better. Sitting there dwelling on all of your pain is only going to cause more pain. It says here, it's not clear why optimists and individuals with more positive self-talk experience these benefits. However, research suggests people with positive self-talk may have mental skills that allow them to solve problems, think differently, and be more efficient at coping with hardships or challenges. This can reduce harmful effects of stress and anxiety. Let's see. Since this is going pretty fast, I'll pause there. Does anybody have any thoughts on that so far that they would like to share?
I'll say something.
Fire away. Hell yes. Please do.
So, going with the topic of positive self-talk, one of the things I think go in line with that is gratitude. And that's one of the things in my early sobriety I was taught by my grandfather. He told me to, before I went to bed every night, to write down 10 things that happened during that day that I was grateful for and thankful for. 10 things. That's all I needed. And he said that the way he understood it and the way it worked for him was because it was the last thing that he thought of before he laid down, then that marinated in his brain and allowed him to wake up with a positive attitude. He told me to do that for 30 days and see how it worked. It fucking changed my life. Anytime. A perfect example, yesterday, me working night shift really sucks for the weekends because, I usually sleep during this time of day and, I don't get to do things the same time normal people do. So I decided just to stay up. I decided to go to Lubbock, which is an hour and a half away from me, and deal with shit that I needed to deal with because of the divorce. I needed to get either trade my cars in to get my ex-wife's name off of them or to refinance them out of her name. I found out that I am so I keep forgetting the term. I have so much negative equity in both the vehicles that the bank won't refinance, and I cannot trade it in and get one vehicle because I have enough negative equity in both my vehicles combined to buy another car. So I got stuck with that. So now that made me feel extremely defeated yesterday. I was like on my way home, I was close to tearing up and crying. I felt lost. I felt I was at the end of my rope. And then I continued driving. An hour and a half is a long time with yourself, especially after something like that. Because like when I went there, I was like excited. I was actually going to be able to get this done, no matter what my credit score is, because I can make this work. And it was out of my control. And on my way home, I started remembering things that I was grateful for, that I was happy about, some of the progress I've made. I had some realizations. I started focusing on things that made me happier. And the rest of my night was amazing. And all of today has been amazing. That energy that goes through your head because of the positive stuff is life-changing, and I live by that to this day. Even no matter what I'm going through, I always find something happy to, or something I'm grateful for, because it helps me stay in the right mindset to focus on the things that actually matter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Gratitude was one of the first things that they told me to do when I went into the AA. When I finally got a sponsor and I was talking to him, he was like, every night you need to write down like 5 things, and you need to bring them tomorrow. And if you don't, I'm gonna be mad at you type thing. And I was like, oh, okay. what I do nowadays, and I need to pick it back up because again, life gets to you. But this book here, and I put the Juggles and Recovery sticker over the thing. But what it does is in the morning, you write down some affirmations, what you're grateful for. Then it asks you like a question, and then at the end of the night, you go back and you review your day. What went well, what didn't, what am I grateful for. Super like easy book because if I get into my head about it, like, and I make it this big project, it's never going to happen. But just simplifying it, like, to even like, what am I grateful for? What happened today? Is super helpful. Also, like going through your day, like what you can do and what you can do better, and then maybe who you even need to like apologize to, like if you were shitty to somebody, you kind of reflect on it. You might not have been like completely outright shitty to them, but like, you have it in your head and you're like, okay, I need to go tell this person my bad for being shitty. Like I was, whatever. So excellent point, Frank, for real. Anybody else on that one before I kind of move down the list here? All right. Silence is acceptance. Okay, so how does it work? Before you can learn to practice more self-talk, you must first identify the negative thinking. This type of thinking and self-talk generally falls into 4 categories. Personalizing, so you blame yourself for everything. It's fucking me. Hello, personalizing. Magnifying, you focus on the negative aspects of a situation, ignoring any and all of the positive. I kind of live there a little bit too. Catastrophizing, you expect the worst and you rarely let logic or reason persuade you otherwise. I always expect the worst, but but I don't let it like consume me. Polarizing, you see the world in black and white or good and bad. There's nothing in between and no middle ground. And processing life or categorizing life events. Polarizing was, I used to be black or white, like it either is or it isn't. I still kind of live there sometimes, but not nearly as much. Like life is not black and white. It's not one way or another. That's just where I was at one point, but I am no longer there. Happy to say. So, stupid things being stupid. Okay. When you begin to recognize your types of negative thinking, you can work to turn them into positive thinking. This task requires practice and time and does not develop overnight. The good news is that it can be done. A study shows that even small children can learn to correct negative self-talk. They say what they say about habits. It's like 30 days to perfect a habit or whatever. So you're not going to do it overnight. So what are some examples? Just these are some, like positive and negatives of what you can say to yourself. Hold on, let me plug my computer in because it's dying. Go. Hopefully it doesn't get all stupid on me. Okay. So the negative, I'm going to disappoint everyone if I change my mind. The positive, I have the power to change my mind. Others will understand. Right. Putting a negative spin. One of the ones I like to use, like I do a lot of like kickboxing 3 days a week, and it's like, fuck, I have to go to kickboxing tonight. Well, no, I get to go to kickboxing. Just change that one word from have to get. I get to go to kickboxing. Not a lot of people get to do that. I get to do that. It's therapy for me. It's what it is. Negative, I had failed and embarrassed myself. The positive of that is I'm proud of myself for even trying. That took courage. Negative, I'm overweight and out of shape. I might as well not bother. I can't tell you how many fucking times I've said that to myself. Positive, I am capable and strong and I want to get healthier for me. Negative, I let everyone on my team down when I didn't score. Positive, sports are a team event. We win and we lose together. Negative is I've never done this before and I'll be bad at it. Positive, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to learn and to grow and learn from others. Negative, that's no way, there's no way this will work. And positive, I can and will give it my all and make it work. So I'll pause there because we're still good on time. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Do you all practice that in your life at all? Well, fire away.
Hey, sorry, my dogs are making noise. I would love to say that I look at every challenge as an opportunity to grow initially, but I don't. It usually takes like a few moments. It usually takes a little bit of time of like resistance for me to be like, oh, this is an opportunity for growth. But I tend to get there, that's for sure, because it's true. Every time I have a challenge or an uncomfortable situation or something I don't want to do or anything that has to do with something like I just said, something I don't want to do, I grow from it. Uncomfortable conversation, uncomfortable situation, like you mentioned earlier, even going to the gym. It's such a process to go to the gym. The transition. Once I'm there, it's great. Um, and sometimes I don't even want to leave. It's just the getting and going, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the positive thinking, the positive actions, you know, you do good, you feel good. But it's just I'm like listening to you and all I hear is ego, you know, ego, because, you know, the ego or, you know, the thoughts that run in your mind that want you to stay comfortable is like the biggest enemy for me, you know, because our mind is structured to avoid pain. And even though that pain can look like anything, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so if that involves getting out of bed when the alarm comes off, I'm tired, you know, or getting off the couch when you're comfortable, I'm comfortable, or, you know, like going to the gym and lifting weights, that hurts, or picking up a phone call and making a doctor appointment, I'm anxious, you know, anything that goes against the grain in your brain or your ego, I should say, saying, don't do that. That will cause you pain, even though it's not painful. It's a lie that your brain tells yourself. You know, it's just every time I do it, becomes a lot easier for me. That's why I have to force myself to do it. And there is this really good coping mechanism I learned a long time ago. I need to apply it more. It's called the 5 second rule. And no, it's not if you drop something on the floor, pick it up in 5 seconds. I will do that too. I don't give a shit. But it's a countdown, right? Like if you don't want to do something, because we can all talk ourselves in and out of almost anything, right? In 5 seconds, you do it. So, for example, your alarm goes off. I really should get up and go to the gym, or I really should get up and do whatever, right? Count down for 5 seconds. So it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get up and do it. You know, it's just that knee jerk reaction, that impulsivity that we all have. Just do the thing, you know? But yeah, I can definitely relate to a lot of things that you say that I do try to apply to my life. And, you know, facing challenges head on, I try to do to the best of my ability. But do I try to, initially, do I see the positive thing? Not always, but I always know that's going to be on the other side of it.
Absolutely. I like the 5 second rule. You know, I think I apply that without even thinking I'm doing it because I'll just do it. Like I just rip the band-aid off, you know, like my kid's like, I don't want to go to work, you know, I'm just gonna lay here. And I'm like, just get up and go. Like, what are you doing? You know? So yeah, I fucking feel that for sure. Frank, you got your hand up. Fire away, buddy.
So I feel like I've gotten pretty decent at turning negative things into positive things. Any time in my life where I have failed to accomplish something, or the situation got rough, or it was traumatic in any sense of the way, I take those as learning experiences. I don't take it as I'm in pain, woe me type situation. I look at it as, okay, what do I need to learn from this situation to stop this from happening again? One of the things I talk about quite often is one of the most traumatic things that's ever happened to me is my mother passing away. And I used to feel bad about saying that it's probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I don't anymore, because the reality is it's helped me. So my mother passing away was what led me to get sober. And for me getting sober and living my best life, no matter what I've gone through since I've been sober, is nothing like the how my life was when I was drinking. So if I can turn my mother's death into something positive for me, then not being able to pay a bill or getting a flat tire or someone pissing you off, you can turn that into something positive if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, that's wild. Because I wonder how I'm gonna feel when because my dad was like my adversary in my life, right? And he's the one I blame for all my shit, And like I always wonder how I'm gonna deal with him when he passes away. Like, am I gonna be like happy about it, or can I turn it into like a positive thing? So that gives me a lot to think about for sure. But it's cool that you were able to turn that around. You know, definitely not easy.
It's definitely not easy, and it's definitely something you have to learn to do. Because like I think it's probably taken me quite a few years to get to the point where I'm at today with it. Because it kind of comes second nature to me now.
Yeah.
But like my mother passing away, that's not something I figured out until, probably about a year and a half sober, when I finally accepted that I needed to deal with the emotions that my mother caused with me when I was growing up. Because when she gave me to my adopted parents, I felt like she abandoned me and rejected me. So it was like it just brought in all of the trauma and the emotional fucked upness that I was feeling already and magnified it. And then she fucking died on me at age 45, and I was pissed, I was hurt, I was lost. Like my mother was my best friend. But once I was able to process that, I was able to see the steps that the universe made to get me sober, and I was like, wow, if it wasn't for my mother passing away, I'd probably still be drinking right now.
Damn, yeah. That's powerful shit. Anybody else got anything before I move on? I'm probably gonna finish in about 15 minutes so we can have like a 15 minute break for everybody if that works. But anybody else? I mean, 15 minutes is a long time. All right. I don't see any hands, but if you want to just start talking, that's good too. So we went through like some examples. We went through how it works. So how do you use this on a daily basis? So this is probably going to go into some gratitude stuff, but so positive self-talk takes practice. If it's not your natural instinct, if you're generally more pessimistic, you can learn to shift your inner dialogue to be more encouraging and uplifting. However, forming a new habit takes time and effort. Over time, your thoughts can shift. Positive self-talk can become your norm. These tips can help identify negative. These tips can help, and then it's identify negative self-talk traps. Certain scenarios may increase your self-doubt and lead to more negative self-talk. Work events, for example, may be particularly hard. Pinpointing when you're experiencing the most negative self-talk can help you participate and or anticipate and prepare. For me, every morning I have to sit in on a call at work on Zoom, and it's the most annoying shit on the planet. And my negative self-talk goes through the fucking roof. So that's one event that sets it off. Checking in with your feelings, stop during events or bad days and evaluate your self-talk. Is it becoming negative? How can you turn it around? You can also do like a quick meditation to bring yourself back. I do that sometimes. It definitely helps. Or just fucking take a nap and get it together. Find the humor. Laughter can relieve stress and tension. When you need a boost for positive self-talk, find ways to laugh, such as watching a funny animal video or a comedian. So Enzo was going into this during the meditation thing this morning, and it's like, even if it's not funny, just laugh about it. If it's upsetting you, like, find something funny in it, because that'll turn your mood around on it. He did a really good example of that in his meeting this morning. Surround yourself with positive people, whether or not you notice it. You can absorb the outlook and emotions of people around you. This includes negative and positive. So choose positive people when you can. I shared this morning too that I had somebody that I had to cut ties with and hold a really firm boundary, and it went really ugly. And but I had to do it. Had to do it for me. Had to do it for the people around me. It was bringing me nothing but horribleness. And then give yourself positive affirmations. So just saying positive things to yourself could be helpful. I have a book that it's literally like 4 hours of it just spitting out like affirmation after affirmation. And not all of them apply, but if you just sit there listening to it, it's going to grind in your brain like, I am a good person, today's not a bad day, today's a good day. It sounds really stupid and cheesy, but it works. Kind of like programming your brain with that stuff over and over again. And then let's see. Oh yeah, we're on the last part here. And then when should I seek support? Obviously you guys have support with the Juggalos Recovery. You got your NA and AA meetings, but positive self-talk can help you improve your outlook on life. It can also have long-lasting positive, health benefits, including improved well-being and a better quality of life. However, self-talk is a habit made over time. If you tend to have negative self-talk and err on the side of pessimism, you can learn to change it. It takes time and practice, but you can develop up to uplifting self-talk. If you find you're not successful on your own, you can talk with a therapist, mental health expert, or group. They can help pinpoint sources of negative self-talk and help you flip the switch. Ask your healthcare provider. This is all stuff they wrote. Like, obviously not everybody can go see a doctor and not everybody can get help, but there are free help groups, just to kind of like, toot our own horn here. We're not mental health, professionals, but we do a lot of mental well-being stuff in the meetings. I tend to focus my meetings around mental health well-being because it's just a lot of practice from a lot of people that have been there, and know the things that work for them. And maybe you can pick up some stuff that works for you. It's just, it's always there. There's always free help. If you want to go pay for help, that does work too. Like when I went into my last round, I went and paid. I did AA and I paid an outpatient place, and it helped. It really did work. So with that, I am done talking. I will open it up to the entire room. A lot of quiet people on here, which is totally cool. But if you want to talk, you can unmute yourself and start or raise your hand. Please do, because we still have a half hour left in my little window here.
I just want to give some props and shout outs to you, Nate. I love your meetings. like I feel like you give more context to like mindfulness than I'm able to do or than I do.
Oh
So
shit!
it's really nice to like listen to your meetings and just like, oh, okay, like pick some stuff up and just you're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's amazing. I just resonate with like everything that you do, all the hard work you put in for this community. I just am so grateful and appreciative of like all that you do. I love you, bro. Whoop whoop.
Damn, Manzo, that means a lot, man. Coming from someone you practice that shit day in and day out, man, and that means like a lot. I mean, you don't even know. Thank you, brother. Chris, fire away.
Just wanted to say thanks for being the smarter one in the groups. You know, it's not very often that we get to hear somebody that has all of this experience and then also has the ability to eloquently express what it is that they're feeling and why things work for them.
Damn, thanks, Chris. That means a lot, brother. I mean, the love I get from this group is indescribable. So thank you for that. It's amazing. Ernie, fire away, buddy.
Yeah, as far as what you were saying with the positive affirmations and you listen to them, my AOD counselor gave a pretty helpful hint. Because sometimes when the negative talk is so strong, it's hard for you to break out of it. And the technique that he was taught was he actually records the positive affirmations in his own voice. And then whenever he feels like he needs it, he just puts in headphones and replays it. And it playing back in his own voice seems to help more. And then he doesn't have to gain the strength to actually tell himself again and again. He just has to hit play. Something I haven't quite started yet, but I've been considering doing.
Hell yeah, that's a really good idea. And with like, cell phones and shit, you could just do like voice memos. That's a really good idea because it's and it could be affirmations that apply to you because the ones I listen to, like a lot of them just they don't apply to me, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but yeah, it's interesting that that you say that because that's a really great idea. I like it. And it, and not to point anybody out, but there is a brother here that has trouble with some voices and maybe recording his own to play back when they're super strong might be a really solid idea for that person. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it definitely seems it seems like it'd be way more helpful than just pre-recorded, store-bought stuff. You really get to personalize it, and like I said, it's you saying it. So
Right, absolutely.
As soon as I get that book with all the meditations on the Joker's cards, I'm gonna be recording myself saying those and going back and listening to them.
Fuck yeah. I think that's a huge, like, I don't know.
I bought me a
That's
tape
great
recorder
idea.
way back when just for visual meditation. Oh, what do you call it? Guided meditation.
Yep.
Bought myself a tape recorder when I was a kid just so I could record these guided meditations in the back of my book. Do it in my own voice with my own emphasis.
Hell yeah. Shut some of them other ones out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's awesome, man. I hope that works out. And I'm going to try that myself because, like you said, those store-bought, like Ernie was saying, like those store-bought ones are just, they're super, super generic. I mean, it's helpful, but to be more personalized would be great. Anybody else? Noel, fire away. Believe you're on mute.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Just to add, I know we spoke about this before, but what really helps me with like the negative self-talk is like where it originated from, going to the root of it all. It all started in good old therapy. My therapist, because I used to be really big on like whenever I made a mistake, I'm like, oh, I'm fucking stupid, or just talking trash to myself. I'm my own biggest critic. So when I would be in like therapy, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm dumb, or whatever the case may be. And my therapist asked me, she's like, who would call you stupid when you were a child? And I'm like, oh, why we got to go there? And I said, my mother. And she's like, so in your head, that's who's talking to you right now. Like whenever you call yourself stupid, or whenever you call yourself ugly or fat, or whatever the case may be, whatever that negative narrative is in your head, that's that person who first said that to you. That's like that voice is that person who still has that power over you. And so whenever you feed that dialogue, you're still allowing that person to have control in your life. And I was like, damn. And, me being a spiteful, prideful person, I was like, I'm not going to let that person, keep having control in my life. So I got a lot better with it. Whenever I would be like, want to call myself, unfortunately, I use really bad derogatory terms when I get mad at myself. But like when I would mess up or whatever the case may be, when I'd say something, I'd be like, I would go to call myself a name and I'd be like, nope, I messed up. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Or I would just try to change that narrative around, and slowly but surely it changed the behavior. It's just repetition and consistency to really change it around, but it's all going back to the beginning. Just like everything else, like even in our recovery, it's just going back to the beginning, to where it all started, to the root of the problem, to really fix the issue. And so I know you and I talked about it before. It's just like, when did it all start? Because that's how we treat it. So
Right. Like, and after you said that, it's like, in my mind, it's like that motherfucker's still winning. You know what I mean? Like, he's still in my head telling me I'm a fat, F word, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, we could probably say that on here, but it's like, yeah, he still fucking wins, even though he's not even here anymore. And it's like, every time I beat myself up, yeah, absolutely. Frank, fire away, buddy.
Noel, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is something that I've been doing for that, like my brain naturally does to work on things, is if I can understand where it stemmed from, whether it's childhood or something that I started subconsciously or whatever the case is, whatever issue I'm having, if I can find the root of the cause, then I know how to counteract it from that point forward. I can remind myself where it came from, why it came from, and that has always, like, the things that take me the longest to heal from or to grow from are the things that I can't find the root cause of. And it pisses me off when I can't find the root cause. And it's like, that's all I think about until I figure it out. And once I figure it out, it's like a switch goes off in my head, and I'm like, yep, not a problem anymore. I'm good to go. But yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one of the biggest things in my life. It's actually one of the things I'm dealing with right now. Um, there's something that's been popping up in my head that I don't have any physical memory of, but I know my mother has said in the past to me, and that some things had happened to me as a child, but I don't remember those situations happening. So I want to go through some hypnotherapy to see if I have locked that shit away, to try to get over it and try to process it, or if it was one of those things that I made up as a kid just to get attention, because my mother was dealing with her shit and I just wanted her attention for that moment in time. But yeah, finding that the main cause of the issue has always helped me grow faster.
Ernie, fire away.
Yeah, this one's going back to how you were talking about possibilities and not believing things. Like you say, if you don't think you can lift those heavy weights, you're not going to be able to lift those heavy weights. I've had a lot of issues with thinking I can't do things and trying, unless I could figure out like step by step how to do it. If I can't, used to think that if I can't figure out how to do it, I just can't do it. A technique that I use pretty much on the daily to do things now, because I discovered that's kind of an ego self-limiting itself, is I remind myself that I don't know what I don't know, so I can't know that it's impossible, if that makes any sense. And by telling myself that I can't know it's impossible, that opens up the possibility for it to be possible, which I think helps access, even at that point, a placebo effect. And then just convincing myself that I can't know for a fact that it's impossible leaves room for like the universe to show me, stuff, if that makes any sense. It's hard to explain,
Yeah.
but
No, it
a
makes
reminder that
absolute.
we don't know what we don't know is actually opens up a whole bunch of possibilities.
Yeah, and like you were kind of, you're absolutely making sense. The if you go into something and you have like all these doubts, like there's no way you can do it and all that, you're just not going to do it, right? Like even if you're going to suck at it, like if you go in with that positive mindset, at least you have a chance, of doing whatever it is. So yeah, you're absolutely dead on for sure. So
Also, I don't think it's the placebo effect. I think it's more of you just accepting the reality that you don't fucking know everything. Because we're not superhuman and we're not encyclopedias or the internet or anything like that. We're just normal human beings that don't know everything because we haven't experienced everything the universe has to offer.
absolutely. And Josie, you're chatting there. Yeah, I don't like hearing my own voice either, so I might struggle with that too, to be honest. There's like memes about it when you hear your own voice and then what you look like, and yeah, I don't know, I don't know if I'd do very well in that area. I recorded myself, but you make a good point there. But yeah, I mean, I bet my kids are gonna, if I were to die, anytime soon, they'd be really happy to hear some of these meetings and hear my voice and things like that. So I just kind of look at it like that, like at least I'll have something to remember me by and whatnot. But yeah, hearing your own voice, definitely a challenge, no doubt.
Immortalizing yourself.
Right. All right, y'all. So if anybody has anything else they want to share, go ahead and do so now.